Yes. Hello and welcome back to the We Only Do One Take podcast. It's the only podcast on earth that has a shaking dog in the background. I am Turch, and with me is my co-host, the CEO, the man that's going to do a half marathon on October 10th. It's Kieran. How you doing, buddy?
It's 21 point something kilometers, which to the listeners out there, I'm getting fit. I was getting fit over lockdown, and I'm continuing this fitness phenomenon.
Doesn't it work out to be like 9 miles or so?
Half marathon?
Yeah,
something like that. And I've been running a bit more.
Good.
And I was like, right, I really want to pick up the running, and the way I'll do this, I'll sign up for an event. So I looked for Run for the Kids because that's April, and then I'm not sure whether it's going ahead. That's 15Ks.
Yeah.
And I've done the Run for the Kids a few times. And I think I've complained on this podcast before that I've never been able to find a running partner that would want to stop halfway, get a donut. Because you run past all the cafes in Melbourne and you could just sort of like get off the running trail, have a donut, coffee, then continue.
You're like the Bart Simpson. Who'll just rock up at the end, or the Kramer. I don't walk. I only don't wear the ribbon. I just do the AIDS walk. That's about it.
And anyway, this year, then the Melbourne Marathon, which is 42 kilometers.
Yeah.
Now my cousin has run it a number of years, and not last year, the year before, she came second.
That's amazing.
I know.
Overall, or
for the women,
Yeah.
she came second. She's going to run in the Olympics.
Amazing.
Well, she had qualified for the Japan Olympics, and then I'm not sure whether she has to qualify again because they moved the date.
Yeah.
Right. So normally I go to the Melbourne Marathon and watch her
Run second, yeah.
Run in, right? And normally I have a coffee and a donut.
Focus in on the coffee and donut.
Yeah, and then we go out for lunch afterwards. So it's a very civilized Sunday event.
Yeah.
Anyway, this year I was like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to do this. Like, this is great. Like, and then I posted on Facebook, who's going to join me?
Yeah.
Now, without even thinking, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get fit. I'm like, I just got to book it in. Once it's booked in, I'll be doing it. So I put this thing up on Facebook. Who wants to join me for 21 kilometers? And nothing. There's nothing. No one's responded. Nothing. I keep checking it. Nothing. Then all of a sudden, explosion.
A flood.
Explosion. A flood. And angry text messages as well.
Yes, you did too, yes.
Yeah. Of, look at your calendar, look at the date. And I'm going, oh, what? Is it Turch's Bucks? Oh, we can move that. We haven't booked anything yet. We can move that. And then it was like, you idiot, look at the date. It's your wedding. Your wedding's on the Saturday.
That's right. And you'll be definitely partying very late into the night and very drunk. There's no way in hell you're waking up at like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning.
6 a.m., yeah.
6 a.m. to get
for a 7 a.m. start.
For a 7 a.m. start in the city.
To do a 21-kilometer run.
I just said ride it high. Just come in there, be in the suit from the last night and just go, look at this. I can
Can't get any worse.
It can't get any worse.
Yeah.
If I throw up, it doesn't matter.
People will think that I've been running so much.
Yes.
That's why he's throwing up.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing. I think you should do it. I have 100% faith that you could do it.
Do you know what I'd do? I'd book it in. Because then I'd book a hotel in the city.
Yeah.
And I would just sleep through it.
Yeah, that's true. Seinfeld style, just sleep through. You got to set like 4 alarms. And put your hand in water so it makes you pee.
Yeah.
And,
Anyway, so I won't be doing that.
That's all right, but no, you should just try and do like a 21K thing.
Well, my thought around that was I'll do 21Ks the week before your wedding. Because me doing all this running, I'll be fit for your wedding.
It's good.
I'll look good,
That's good.
And then I don't have to do it. I don't have to be hungover.
That's right.
I'm too old to be hungover to do something the next day.
So
if I'm going to be hungover, I'm just going to be doing nothing. In
so
fact, I'll book a hotel so I check out on the Monday, so I can sleep all of the Sunday.
It's so funny because that status went up and I saw it and I just laughed. And I went, that's right, I'll put it aside. And then Jess messaged me and goes, did you see what Kieran wrote? I'm like, no. She shows me, and then it just Alice pops up straight away and just says,
and I'm getting abusive text messages from Alice. Yeah.
Do you know what date it actually is? And all that. Like, so I had a bit of a laugh there. Just a sec. 1 second. Yeah, so lots of abuse from Alice when it came to that, but that's okay. That's the fun of doing.
That's the fun of working with me.
It's fun.
You never know what's going to happen.
You
never know what's going to happen.
So I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of you. Well, I know you've got a rant,
I do have a rant.
but I'm gonna do a quick one.
Okay.
For the last 2 weeks,
Hmm.
Jess has been in hospital, doing all that sort of thing. For the last 2 weeks, I've been fighting.
Oh, by the way, I just want to plug the brownie points because I've got so many brownie points. I got Jess flowers,
You did get
everyone.
Jess
you know,
flowers.
and the thank you text message, and very good. And there was a missed opportunity with the flowers.
Who?
And I know what I should have said.
What?
I said, hi, dear Jess, whatever, wishing you a speedy recovery. And I was thinking today, I was like, you know what I should have written on the card? Congratulations on your new tits. Wishing you a speedy recovery. I'm like, she would have appreciated that.
That's very true. It's very.
She's
true.
the only female that I know that would have appreciated.
That's very true. She has a good sense of humor.
And I was
That's
like,
why we got
damn,
married.
I missed that opportunity.
Well, I mean, so Jess is like, a bit stressed with the surgery, just a gallbladder, so not too bad. But she's just like, can you take over the engagement party, organise that? Because they've sort of been screwing us around a little bit. So I've been back and forth with the venue for I'm not going to say the venue, not going to say anything like that. But I've been back and forth with the venue. And the woman running it, helping us out with the event, just has no idea. Like, so we booked this in for the engagement, last year?
Last year, yeah.
We've had a deposit sitting with them.
And you're booking a venue for the venue to do the work.
That's right.
Because that's why you're paying them the money.
So that's it. So
Yeah.
initially, the venue had catering stuff on hand, like a kitchen. And somehow, during COVID last year, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
But didn't tell us until January.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well,
A couple of weeks before the event.
like 5 weeks before the event.
Mhm.
I'm like, you got to compass something. You can't just take away it's like a whole process.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we've got external caterers now. You have to call them and organize things. And I'm like, wait a second. No. The contract we signed and that we put a deposit for is that you deal with it. I'll tell you what, you tell me what I need to tell you, you pass it on to them. And another thing was that she was complaining. I said, oh, I'm just going to pay you, the venue, and you deal with pay the caterers. Like, no, you have to pay the caterers.
Because last year, when we
signed up, it was pay you, everything done.
And this is when we turn up and we have a good time.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're going to pay the caterers separately. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So back and forth. Eventually, I knock her down. I finally get some freebies.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, I'm the customer. I'm pretty sure I'm right in this case, both in the way of getting free stuff and legally.
Yeah.
But the last thing she wouldn't budge on is we just pay the venue, and then they pay. Anyway, I get an email from the caterer saying, "Hey, just confirming a bunch of stuff."
Yeah.
And I email back to the caterer, "Hey, I thought this was okay. Obviously not. That's okay. We can fix things." They give me a call, and on the phone they say, "Oh, look, everything, we've fixed it all. This is what the new thing is. It's actually cheaper than what we expected. Worked out great. Thank you, Anthony. But just pay the venue, and they can pay us."
Yeah. Perfect. That's what you want.
And they go, "Can you do me a favor? Can you write an email?"
Clearly, the catering and the venue aren't talking to
They're
one
not
another.
talking at all. Can you write an email to me just to confirm some of the details we've talked about? And definitely the part about the payment. Can you also CC in the venue? Absolutely. What do I get 5 minutes later? An email
From the venue?
from the caterer to the venue.
Yeah.
And me.
Yeah.
Saying all these things, tick box,
Yeah.
pay the venue, they'll pay us.
Yeah.
Anyway, I get another email today from the venue
Oh,
because
dear.
the final emails I sent to both the caterer and the venue said, "Sorry for my delay in my previous email. It's been stressful because Jess is in hospital. Haven't talked about it all this way up.
Yeah.
Just anyway. The latest email's like, we're very sorry. I'm so apologetic.
Oh.
I'm like, I played you like a fucking fiddle. I'm having a great time.
Hey, look, the benefit is I think we're getting eight free jugs of cocktails.
We're getting some cocktails for free.
So I will be there at 7. By
Perfect.
7:30, I plan to have knocked down 2 of them.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
And if worse comes to worse, we might have to put some more money on the bar. But I think that's what the bridal party's for.
I think so. That's,
Gotcha. You can pay for your own fucking jug of alcohol. But you got a rant for us. What have you got for us?
I do. Terch, you're the firstborn.
So I was chosen to be born.
Yeah. You were chosen to be born. You're the firstborn, and you're loved by your family.
Subjective, but yes.
And I'm sure, well,
Loved enough.
loved when you were young,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm sure that if you go to your house, your mum's got photos of you,
Yeah.
and lots of photos. And I'm sure
No,
your
you see-
your
you see
grandparents have photos
You
of
see,
you.
my grandparents got photos of fucking everybody.
and yet-
Have I ever told you the story of my on my dad's side?
No.
So on my dad's side, my grandparents, that's my nonna and nonna were there. My nonna, by the end, was going a bit loopy because she got Alzheimer's.
Great, fantastic.
So it's always good.
Not that she had that, but
Yeah,
no,
no,
they're more
for the
fun
for the
when
sort,
they've got
Anyway, and my cousin, who you know,
Yeah.
we used to go there, and every time we went there one day, and in the family room, there was lots of photos on the wall and up and this and that, and then you go there the next time, and there would be not different photos, but the photos would have moved like off the hooks
Right.
into a different spot. So sometimes you'd have more photos than others.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to play this game. So the first time we went there, both saw this go, this is a bit weird. So we counted them. There was 31 photos in one room of family.
Okay,
That's a lot of photos.
that is a lot of photos.
Anyway, so the next time I go there, the next time he goes there, I just get a message from him saying 27.
27.
And that's all I get.
Right.
And instantly I knew it was because she changed the photos around. So this is, and he's going to listen to this. He's going to know exactly what I'm talking about as well. And, I used to send him back and forth every time we used to go over there and count the photos on the wall in the family room.
35.
Yeah, it
28,
used to fluctuate, like by 10.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
Wow.
They were always around the 30
I don't think
mark.
I know anyone that has a photo fluctuation.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of the Alzheimer's, but I can't.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't vouch for that, but it was definitely a fun thing with a family member. But
Okay. So I'm the third born. And still, when I was alive, you'd have to get the disposable camera and take the photos.
Beautiful.
Just like with my brother, 7 years older than me, and my sister, who's in the middle. Disposable camera, take the photos, lots of photos.
Yep.
And I've noticed, I was house sitting for my auntie earlier in the year,
Yeah.
and she's got photos of all of us nieces and nephews. And in the room, there's only one of me. There's one. And it's a group photo of my brother and my sister.
Amazing.
There's one of my brother and another one of my brother and another one of my sister, and all different sort of like age ranges as well. And then, the other side of the family. And I'm looking like there's just one.
Yeah.
I go to mum's house. Same thing. There's like one of me.
Yeah.
I go to dad's house. None.
Well, that's fair. That's a band's house.
Well, there's photos of my brother and my sister.
Okay.
There's more photos of the grandchildren,
That's fair. That's usually good.
but none. But I'm over there. This is what I want to rant about. Because I'm over there, and he goes, "Oh, I've cleaned out some stuff. I've got some stuff to give you." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I don't want more stuff." Like, anyway,
check it out.
he's got it in an Aldi bag.
Is it like Tarzo's? If
No.
it's Tarzo's, I'll take them. Or Pokemon cards.
And I go,
Sell them for $1.
And I go, what? I wish they were Tarzos. I wish they were Pokemon cards. Anyway, I open it up, and there's my there's a book, and it's my firsts, right? My firsts. And I opened up, and he goes, "Oh, he goes." My dad goes, "Oh, you want to keep that?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I think I do want to keep this." And he goes, and I open it up, and he goes, "Yeah, your hair's there, your first haircut. It's in an envelope."
That's fair.
I was like, "Oh, okay," but it's in an envelope. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, your baptism certificate." And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, I'll burn that."
That's good. Keep it.
Anyway,
Keep it just in case you want to send your child to a Catholic school.
and this my firsts come. Oh, well, I'm Anglican. Anyway, this first book is from my godparents. Okay, and I flick through it. I'm like, "Oh, there's nothing on the first page." Okay, nothing on the second page. Nothing on the third page. I flicked through this. I'm like, "Dad, there's nothing in here.
Yeah.
Why are you giving this to me?"
It's an empty book.
It's an empty book.
It's a good one for work. Just Free
I was
notepad.
just like, well, what's the point of this? I was like, I am now heart crushed. Not really, but
Heartbroken.
That's
That's
it.
the one. Yeah.
Because you're giving me this book of nothing. It's better that I didn't know that existed. And then I had like my first prayer book,
Okay.
which once again I was like, oh,
Why
fucking.
he kept all the religious things.
I know. I was like, well, I'll fucking burn that. And then I open it up and it's from Arnie Pat,
Yeah.
who Arnie Pat is long gone.
Yeah.
But Arnie Pat was the fact that she's like handwritten in it. I was like, oh, now I can't throw this out.
Yeah, I
was
know.
like, fuck. But more importantly, actually, this isn't. That's my rant. But more importantly, I have a goblet,
Okay.
and that's probably what I'm most excited. There's some other crap in there that had no value, but I've got a goblet, and I forgot that I even had a goblet.
Amazing.
And I shouldn't forget that I had a goblet because after the 09 fires, the St. Andrews community gave every firefighter a certificate and a goblet.
Yep. Oh, amazing.
And I was like, this is my goblet? Oh my god!
Keeper.
Yeah.
See, my mum was
Being the third born sucks.
Well, I was
You're
the
not remembered.
So I was the first. My mum did this to my brother as well. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
My mum kept fucking everything.
Yeah.
So, like when Jess and I started first dating, and she'd come over, mum would bring out like the photo albums and let it, like, you know, oh, here's Anthony naked in a bath, like as the 1-year-old. Like,
I bet I don't even have that.
you know,
I bet I don't even
or-
have a naked
and
in the
then
bath
she has
photo.
This box of what she considers.
I want a naked in the bath photo.
You can have mine. You can have one of mine. You know, you can have naked Turch in a bath at one. I don't know if I'm giving you child pornography or not, but it's a picture of me, so who knows?
Will I get you arrested? Yes, I will.
Or is it you get arrested?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'll give you a photo of me naked in a bath. You really want one. But she has like this box of things. She calls it the keepsake box, and it's still in my room from when I moved out. It's still in my room with all this shit, and it's all these things she's collected like each year of my life, including like same thing like the baptism stuff. Like she even had my baptism thing that I was baptized in.
Yeah.
Like the, you know, same as the book. I eventually persuaded her to throw out my first teeth because I'm like, I think
Was
that's
it first tooth?
yeah, tooth.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm pretty sure keeping teeth is illegal.
Just weird.
It is just weird
Just
either
weird,
way, you know.
yeah.
But she kept like everything. I think in high school I made like a shitty pencil case box type thing, and she kept that and took it out to show Jess. I was
Wow.
like, oh, this is your husband to be. I was like, no one cares. Like,
Do you
know,
still have your school reports?
Mum's kept every school
Okay, so
report.
I've still got my school reports.
Okay.
And I was going through them.
You know, I'm a fucking retard.
During lockdown, I'm going through my school reports. Because I remember when I moved over here, it would have been like grade 4. So I've come from Perth. Perth, we start a year earlier than all the Melburnians. Anyway, move over here. And my mum goes to me one day, oh, we're taking you to see a psychologist. And I was like, what? And she goes, oh, we think we might keep you down a year. And I was outraged.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this? This is unbelievable. How dare she? And so for 2 weeks, I stopped talking to my parents because I just was like, this is the most...
So they're like, we definitely need to see a
No
psychologist.
no one keeps Kieran down.
Ah.
And I remember walking into the psychologist, right? And I was giving mum the silent treatment, and in my mind I'm like, I'm going to give the psychologist the silent treatment. Like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to like waste so much time. And fucking psychologists. I remember walking in there, and she's like, "Do you like games?" And it's like, "I love games."
Just ruined your plans. Like 2 seconds in.
Yeah.
2 seconds.
Anyway, I
in.
was going through my school reports. I should bring them in and let you read them.
That'd be great. Oh, that'd be fun.
Because I'm going through it in lockdown. There's a period where I was like, maybe I've got like ADD, like attention deficit disorder. Because there's periods where I'm just like, I have no attention or have no care.
I'm really smart up until about year 10.
Yeah.
And then I start to get retarded. I don't even know. So my mum kept all the school reports and all this stuff. And then when I left the house, like, I bought this place, and Mum's like, "Do you want to? I'm like, Mum, that's for you. I don't really care, you know." And then she goes, "What about your bachelor's degree, like the piece of, you know, the certificate?" And I'm like, "I don't want it." Like, so it's sitting at my parents' house
Oh, you
on
didn't
the
get
wall.
It, did he get it framed?
Yeah, it's all framed.
Ah.
So, good story about that. I got it all framed. I was the first of my family, like the Italian, like my dad's side, to ever get a degree.
Mhm.
So everyone was fucking chuffed, like
Mhm.
amazing. So Dad's like, yeah, I'm gonna spend all the money. I'm gonna get like the best frame, this and that. We get home and he holds it and he goes, beautiful. He puts it down and and he cracks the glass.
Oh.
Straight down, like a massive thing. And Dad's just like, oh no, we've got people coming out. So Dad rushes out to go to a glazier to buy a new piece. So this thing probably cost him like $200
Yeah.
to frame up, cost him another $100 in glass.
Oh, wow.
So this thing, yes, good investment. It's okay. I don't care. But I'm like, man, that's a worthless piece of paper, that accounting degree.
So it must be a parent thing, because my dad has been like on my case for all my degrees to be framed. They eventually got done, but I was just like, I was like, whatever. I've got to hunt them down. I've got to find them.
Yeah.
I couldn't care. Where was I going with my story? Oh, my school reports, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm going through them, and I'm like, okay, fail, A+,
Good.
A+, fail, fail. Like, I had these two ranges of either like I was A's,
Yeah.
or it was like an E. Like, there was nothing.
There's nothing in between.
There was
no
nothing
like
in
a
between.
C or a B.
And
or
I'm going through, I'm like, yeah, I remember that project. Like, I was so into that project. Yeah, that project sucked. I had no motivation. Like, I clearly know I got an E there because that just sucked.
Mm.
Yeah, very, very interesting.
I love that sort of stuff. It's good to look at, but
Yeah.
my mum kept like everything. There's like hundreds and millions of photos of me as a child. Like she even like you go through the photo album and things are dated. Like not just in the
dated on the back.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
back. Or like in like you used to put photos in photo albums and have like a little space to write something.
Yeah.
And she used to do that, and it'd be like fun in the sun at the beach and the date, and you're like, what the, like, you know,
Fun in the sun at the beach.
yeah, it's, like that. Has, maybe I'll bring her in and she can show you that stuff. But she was like insane.
Yeah,
and then my brother,
bring her in because I'm going to be like, tell me all of Church's embarrassing stories.
I'll tell you all of my embarrassing stories. I think the one she'll definitely tell is I was like, I don't know, about to start year 7, and we're getting school shoes, and I said, put some on. Yeah, it's like, oh, I think I need more widthness.
More girth.
Yeah, the word I meant to say is width, but I said widthness, and she just goes, "Oh, needs more widthness." That was, I'm like, Mum,
That's not embarrassing.
I'm like, that's not that funny.
Yeah.
But the way, because it's only embarrassing because she tells it every year. She brings it back up. It's more embarrassing for her than it is for me.
Oh.
But I think
And she's an English teacher, so
she gets to I think you get to a stage with your parents where all these embarrassing stories, you just realize that it's more embarrassing for them that they're still telling them.
yeah.
And you're just like, why are you telling that? You're just proving that your son's retarded.
You know what? Not bad son, bad parent.
Bad parent.
Yeah.
You know? That's like all these, like, the millennials are this generation's so soft. I'm like, you're the parents. It's your fault. They didn't come out soft. They came out just like as retarded.
Because you got to discipline.
Got
to discipline.
Gotta
See?
hit your children.
You got
You gotta
to
at least threaten your children with
raising the finger. Yeah, so third child, lack of photos.
Well, we just celebrated the greatest day in Australian history, Australia Day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm going to rant about anything, I'll probably rant about this every year that we talk about it. But just the hypocrisy of it,
Hypocrisy of what?
just the people that on that
The hypocrisy of people not celebrating Australia Day?
No, the hypocrisy of people that go, it's it's not even a thing. It's like a stolen land, all that. Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but then they still take the day off.
Yeah.
Like if you were really against Australia Day, you would not be taking the day off.
Did you see the poll, which was something like only 22% of Australians, something like that, want to change the date?
Yeah, it's always a minority.
Yeah.
It's always a minority. Well, what about the Aboriginal woman that was like, the activist was like, the Australian government should give every Aboriginal $1 million. Like, if it is just about money.
I had a brief conversation with someone who was saying that Australia Day was Invasion Day. And look, I don't want to be too political about it.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, at the moment, Australia Day is the 26th.
Yeah.
and we should be very proud. And we live in, I reckon, the best country in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Hands down, the best country.
Probably
in
the
world.
worst state, but the best country.
Best country. Yeah, the best. The best country in the world, and there's so much opportunity here. And I don't think the narrative is we don't quite have that narrative. There's so much opportunity, but there's so much opportunity here and so much potential. And I get the Australia's had a bad history,
But
and I get that. But when I was talking to them about whether it's Invasion Day, or not going to celebrate on the 26th, I said, yeah, I understand your point, but I said maybe getting Aboriginals in as the first people in our constitution might be a better first step to work towards than...
I just think that it's this double-edged sword. And I'll tell you this right. It's like, okay, if we just go... Look, I'm basically first-generation Australian, right? I'm as, like, out of it as you can really get. So for me, Australia has been, for my family, both sides, has been the land of fucking opportunity.
Mhm.
And it's gorgeous. And, the Italians, when they came here, were not liked people.
No.
And we had to work hard and show them that we were valuable to society.
Hmm.
And I'm very lucky that people go, you know what? There is some value there.
Hmm.
We're going to accept them. And now, Lygon Street's a really big thing. The Italian community here is very important. Otherwise, you wouldn't have coffee. What are you guys going to do? What's Melbourne going to do with that coffee culture? It's basically the dominant.
It's dead.
The
Yeah.
dominant, So for me, it's like, okay, but easily the greatest country on earth. Because I've been to, my grandparents who were born in Italy, married in Italy, came here. Are just like, oh, Italy's too full of Italians. Australia, I'm Australian.
Mhm.
Like, these are people that have been here for 60 years. Like, they decided to come here. So for me, like, Australia Day is a celebration of my family being able to come to this country.
Yeah.
And it's like, I didn't do anything to the Aboriginals. Definitely my grandparents didn't. They would probably just as, at 1970, they're just as oppressed as the Aboriginals in some ways anyway. Okay. But then they want all this equality, these Aboriginals, right? They want all this equality, they want this stuff. And then they go, but we have to put them in the same bracket as the elderly and first-line workers when it comes to the COVID vaccine. Now, I don't know what's more hypocritical.
Mhm.
The fact that they think they're just as important as getting the elderly and the frontline workers, or the fact that they go, yes, that's okay, and still want $1 million. They're still...
But I don't actually... I know a few Aboriginal people.
Yeah.
Right? And I have... Once again, I've hardly heard them go, like, poor me, poor me, poor me. They're just like, yeah, I've got a job.
Remember my friend from Perth?
Like I feel like
you know him, right?
Yeah. But I feel like it's a lot of outsiders on this campaign.
You know what? That guy from Perth, and
Yeah.
I won't say his name, and another work colleague of mine, he would complain. He was a very light-skinned Aboriginal. I didn't know he was Aboriginal till he told me, right? I didn't care. Like, at the end of the day, hey, who cares? Just a cool bloke, you play guitar, you're working with me. Let's go out and drink beers, right?
Yeah.
And he was complaining to me one day. He's like, oh, you don't understand how it feels to be a black man in a white man's world. And then sitting around the table with us was also drunk. Was a guy from India. His family's from India. Like, he's got dark skin. He goes, what the fuck are you talking about? You're fucking white. I'm like, you're not the right kind of black, are you? It's just but that's the funny thing about it. Like, I've always said racism is very funny.
Yeah.
Because everyone thinks that they're better than the Italians. And that's not true. So because of that, racism is funny.
Yeah.
Because every race bags other races,
Of course.
And look, it's different for rights, but like, he didn't have any different rights than I did. Like, I don't understand. But if the government's going to give him $1 million, the least he could do is fly me over to Perth and have a beer with him. Like, I'll even pay for my quarantine when I get there and back. Right?
Yeah, they won't give him $1 million, but yeah, it's look, from a research point of view, transgenerational trauma is a thing.
How's this? I was watching one of those videos, one of those shows, Dirty Jobs.
Yeah.
And that Mike guy went up to, I think, Northern Territory.
Yeah.
Aboriginal, like, basically live off the grid type thing.
Mm.
And no other culture, no one in Australia is allowed to eat turtle eggs,
Mm-hmm.
but this tribe. And I'm like, they've got more rights than me when it comes to eating turtle eggs. That's a right that I don't have as a white man. Where's my privilege?
Well, become part of the clan. Become part of the tribe.
You know, if there's $1 million on the line, mate, I'm the most Aboriginal man you've ever met. You know, I'm just as sociopathic as all those CEOs that have to pretend to be transgender to have their board to have an even, 5% transgender, whatever it is.
Oh. Anyway, I love Australia Day.
Me too, man.
It's a great country. Let's build
You
everybody
know what?
up.
I don't care. If they change the date,
Yeah. I actually don't care.
I don't care. As long as it's a public holiday.
Hey, it's a public holiday, and can we have it in summer?
Yeah, that's it.
Because
No.
summer's nice. Long days.
No, put it in February. End of Feb.
Yeah.
Right into March. That way you have to go celebrate the last sort of bit of summer,
Yeah.
straight into March, and goes
Yeah.
into the next season.
Yeah.
We're all good.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
I'm happy with that. It's an ebb and flow, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to change the meaning for a lot of people. And I think that's the hard part. Like, they're like, oh, because if we nominate this day, like, that's when, was it, Cook
Mhm.
founded Australia, whatever it was. The Dutch were there before, but who cares, right?
Yeah.
Founded Australia, all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah. But even if you change the date, the meaning behind the day for most people is not going to change.
Hmm.
The meaning of the day is a public holiday.
Yeah.
And that's...
And it's a day off from
and
work.
it's a day off from work. And that's all people care about. Do we, change, the day of...
And don't do what I did, which is about an hour of work and then realize it was a public holiday.
Nah. Or what about, like the Queen's birthday is a great example. The Queen's birthday, we celebrate in May or something, or June, whatever it is, and their birthday's in March.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Who cares? Public holiday, I'll take it. Queen's birthday, thank you, Queenie.
Thank you.
No
Even though it
worries
was in
at all.
March, Lizzie will celebrate it.
You know what? And she's got more rights than the average English person as well.
Yeah.
You know she's allowed to eat swans and no one else is?
I didn't know that.
That's a real thing.
I know she doesn't need a passport.
That's true.
And she doesn't need a driver's license.
Yeah, apparently she drove a car in like Saudi Arabia or something like that just to say, well, fuck it.
Yeah, because she can.
Yeah, and also she can eat swans. Now I don't care that they taste bad. I probably will never want to eat a swan, but I want to know that I have the right to eat a swan. See what I mean? This is like, you remember that thing in Monty
I just wish I could go back in time to this function manager of yours and just be like, look, just don't. Just this is a man. Just agree. And
he's the most libertarian man you've ever met in your life, but he will fight you to the death for his rights.
Just give up and just move on to the next battle.
That's right.
Because you're not going to win this one.
I know, it's a bit like that, isn't it? But that's all good. But Kieran, what do you got some news, or do you want to do? Because you've been listening to a lot of podcasts. Do you want to talk about the podcast you've been listening to, or do you want to do some news?
I'll do the podcast first. We'll do the podcast.
So you've been listening to podcasts, but like we said, we've been listening to lots of podcasts over the break, just to see what the competition is kind of like. And we've decided that we're technically better than a lot of podcasts that potentially are just as popular or more popular than what we are. So I don't know if we're punching up, punching down, or just punching Conor McGregor down to the floor in the UFC 257.
Well done.
But thank you. That was a lot of words. And I had that in the back of my mind, and it still didn't come out as good as I'd hope. I'll clean it up in post. But
no, please don't. That's I hope someone reviews this podcast and then pulls up that clip and goes, "Look, they can't even speak."
I know, but it was a good phrase,
Yeah.
a turn of phrase. But nonetheless, you've been listening to a podcast, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've been doing?
This one, you actually sent me a clip of this podcast.
Did I?
Yeah, you texted it to me. Listen
Oh
to this.
yes, okay.
And I listened to that one, and then I went off and I've listened to other podcasts.
Yeah.
But I've come back and I've listened to a few more of this podcast.
Yeah.
And it just bugs me.
I think I know which one this is.
It just bugs me.
But for the audience, why don't you tell the audience what you've been listening to, what you've been doing?
So this podcast is about business.
Okay.
And
I know you think that you're an entrepreneur and all that sort of stuff. You can follow him on Twitter as well.
Follow me on my Twitter when I have my brain bursts.
Yeah.
And my anti-religion bursts.
You got to get onto PayPig.
PayPig?
You can say the F slur on that one.
That's right. Well, see, sorry, just to clarify, I'm using my Twitter as sort of like this is an idea I want to explore later.
Mhm.
And so so you'll just, if you follow me, you'll just get random crap. It'll be good random crap.
Why don't you just post it on the Facebook page of the We Only Do One Take podcast?
No, there'll be maybe.
Yeah, you should.
Okay.
You fucking should. It'd be great. I got random shit every day. Fine, post it. Just fucking post
All
it.
right.
Share it to all the Facebook groups that we're in.
Anyway, so this is business back to essentials. Now I can't figure out what this lady does.
Oh, okay. What's her name? Francesca
Moy.
Yeah.
Francesca Moy. Anyway, this is her opening.
Okay.
All right.
High production.
Yeah, it sounds really good. So far.
Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moy, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business.
Okay.
All right. So sounds good about business. Business
you've
problems,
told me
business
before that you've
solutions.
listened to some business podcasts, and all business podcasts to me sound like people wanking.
Yeah.
And I'd have listened to one episode of this, and this was the hardest podcast. I've listened to the podcast about the Zoo Files.
Mm-hmm.
That was easier to listen to than this.
Yeah. So I'll let me rephrase it. I've listened. Yeah. So there's two I would call businessy, but I don't even know if I'd call them businessy.
Yeah.
Like one's investing.
Okay.
Yeah. And the other person is
Should have invested in GameStop.
yeah.
Fucking hell.
And the other
They
one
shorted out a whole company. A whole bunch of hedge fund managers. Amazing.
and and the other one is sort of more not that. But anyway.
Yeah.
And then I've listened to a whole bunch of Audible books.
Yeah.
So I think I'm top shit, right?
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're thinking, all right, this is all right. This is good. We can do this. Let's see what she starts with.
So I started to decide that every Monday,
Now the audio quality's dropped.
Oh, the audio quality. I remember listening to the episode and I'm like, wow, like, I don't know what
This
she
is
does.
her latest episode.
I don't know what she does.
Yeah.
But I can make her audio sound infinitely better by just telling her to record in a closet
Mhm.
or like put up a curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or change microphones or wherever she's sitting, it's super echoey.
Mm.
Like, we're not in the greatest room, but at least the way we record, like I set everything up, you don't get as much echo or don't get as much room ambience.
Mm.
Or you try to reduce it, by doing various things in post.
We care about our listeners'
We
ears.
try our best.
All right. So let's see what this is about.
So I started to decide that every Monday, I'm now going to be working from home in my new home office that I created, so that I can actually concentrate, so I can be proactive, record all the things that I need to record, be active on social media, and don't get lost into the business tasks.
Okay. So she's just basically taking a day off. Is that how you're understanding it? Like, I don't go, I'm taking a day off. I'm working from home on Mondays to record podcasts and run my mouth on social media.
To be honest, as a listener, I don't care what the hell you do on a Monday.
No.
Or where you are, or whether you're at home or not at home. Just get your shit done. But it's this last little bit that caught my attention.
To the business tasks.
Okay.
What the hell are in the business tasks?
I don't know. She doesn't describe things very well. And I think, I don't know if it's a language barrier. Initially I thought she might be like European, like, more maybe Italian or French or something like that. But then I think Jess listened to a little bit of this podcast. She goes, oh, she's definitely like from New Zealand.
Mm. Well,
And she's got, I've seen pictures of her. I don't usually bag people's looks,
Yeah.
but Jesus Christ, gets less gums and more teeth.
yeah. So I did a bit of Googling to find out what is it exactly that she does.
Okay, good.
And I've got a note here which says, could you please explain what you do at the start?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and from what I found, she runs events and workshops how to produce content.
Okay. Well, wow. I can tell people how to produce content better than her.
Yep. How to engage authentically with your tribe.
Well, our wankers are fantastic. We
Yeah.
love every one of them.
And on her website, your business is a 3D printout of your thoughts.
This is a scam.
So for there are
These are all. I think she talked about Tony Robbins in the episode I shared with you,
Mhm.
and I feel like she thinks she's Tony Robbins, but I think Tony Robbins really he has like a very big demographic. Like he just gets everyone, business people that are unmotivated, and really tries to motivate them, man or woman. I think maybe we're not the right audience for this because I think she is trying to focus on the businesswoman aspect of it.
Oh, I think so, absolutely.
Yeah, I think she's trying to find that niche.
We're every podcast that we review, we're never the audience.
I'm still trying to find a podcast where I'm not where I am the audience and I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I listen to like the Dick Show and I love the Dick
Uh-huh.
Show. Who are these podcasts? Karaoke Big E.
Yeah.
The Po Boys, Shitty Song of the Week.
Mm-hmm.
All these, plus a whole bunch more. And probably, sorry, I'm forgetting your podcast, but I do love you guys. In the group chat that I'm talking about, or Man Brain, or Jason who came on the show and all that sort of stuff. I love all those shows, but they're like some of them are not built exactly for me, but they're built enough for me that I like.
Mm-hmm.
I've never listened to a podcast that people go, "Hey, you'll like this." It's definitely the demographic is me, and I've gone, it's actually not exactly for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I've listened to so many podcasts where the demographic isn't for me, and I have not liked. There's only probably been one or two where I've gone, yeah, that's still a good show, but the demographic definitely isn't me.
Yeah. Like, I like what they're doing. It's thought out.
Yeah, it's understandable in that sort of regard, and I keep listening.
But I'm not into dogs or cats or
and
something.
That kind of makes sense in a degree. But she's trying to hit, I guess, a business marketing audience, and you think it should be a bit more universal.
So I'm really shitty. See, I get really shitty with these business podcasts for the fact that A, they're never liable for their advice that they give out.
Oh, that's something
Right.
I didn't even think of.
Yeah. And B, they haven't really got experience. So I've been in this startup world for about a year.
Yeah.
And then part of it, and no way I'm going to ever claim that I'm a business guru or expert, but I got to do things like hang out with Amazon Web Services and SpaceX, and there was a few other sort of more startups that aren't quite as big. Oh, Airbnb as well. And so you've got to have these high intellectual conversations about like entrepreneurship, business, decision-making, strategy, how hard it is, when all these problems, because there's just problem after problem and you've got to come up with solutions. What happens when other businesses are attacking your market?
Do you remember when we listened to the podcast? Look, the Porn Star podcast is a great example.
Yeah.
Remember we listened to a whole bunch of them, and obviously the target demographic was men.
Yeah.
And we're technically men.
Mm-hmm. Last time I checked.
Last time we checked, I don't know. It depends if we're on as the CEO, and our board has to be 50% LGBT.
Yeah.
You might be LGBT. I don't care.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me, unless you're gay. Then you're out.
Yeah.
But
and depending on what conference we go
that's
to,
right,
we're fluid. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know how it is. I'm liquid water, whatever it is. I'm not a lukewarm water. But I can't remember where I was going with that. But none because we just said way too many jokes. But yeah, continue on.
Okay, you're going somewhere.
I don't know.
Anyway, my point,
I've had a long
my
day.
point is, all these other people who are second, third, fourth, 10th employee at like SpaceX.
Oh, sorry.
Airbnb.
Porn Stars podcast.
Yeah, Porn
Remember we
Stars,
were
right,
listening to the one?
Yeah.
And he was the one that was the motivational speaker, business owner. And he had like a photography business.
Yeah,
You remember that?
yeah.
And he couldn't speak.
Yeah.
And he was a motivational speaker, all that. I watched a YouTube video of his, and he's just like, one of the things he was talking about was passive income.
Mm-hmm.
Now, passive income is, by all accounts, as an accountant, a guy that did finance for a long time, is a myth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because at the end of the day, you're still working.
Yeah.
It's passive because you don't, I don't know, maybe you don't do it every day, but it's still, you still have
gotta
to
do some work. Yeah.
Exactly right. And his advice was, do a job and it might cost you, I don't know, $50,000 a year to do it. Just hire someone to do it for less than that, and then you make the profit. And with that, you reinvest. And I'm like, hang on a second. This is like 1,000,001 problems.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
You've still got to have, if you're running a business, you've still got to have, it's yours. You've
Yes.
still got to maintain. How do you know, I have to say this, how many employees, A, have your vision and can execute and are not going to get, like, lazy?
You've got to know. You hire a person, right? And this is something I was told years and years ago by one of my cousins. He goes, if you get hired somewhere, they're expected to make, like, you know, let's say you make 100 grand a year, you know, they're expected to make $1 million off you, you know, 1,000% of what your salary is. That's how much output they're expecting to get out of. That's how much they're technically valuing you. They can't pay you that much.
Yeah.
But they're going to get, that's how much value they're going to get out of you. So if you're on, you know, 50 grand, they're going to get $500,000 out of you. So 450K, but
They want 10x.
They want 10 times your value of output. That's what they're planning to get. You know, so, but they know you're probably only going to work at 60%, 70% most of the time. So for that 100K, you're working at 70%. They're actually really hoping for $1.5 million of output at 100K.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the same for this. So if you're hiring someone like, you know, you can do the job for 50K a year, and you hire someone for 45, you're only really getting $30,000 of a person.
Yeah.
And you're not making money. You're actually probably going to lose money because of all the other overheads and shit like that.
And everything else that's going to happen.
So, what advice is this woman giving us?
Oh, there's a lack of advice.
We are like nearly 50 minutes in and we've not even talked about this. So, Francesca Moy, business owner, trying to tell us about how to make content.
But my problem is there's so many people that try to give business advice, and so many people get sucked into it.
Yeah.
Because that's my point before we play more clips. Being in this startup world, the ones that actually give advice, A, you have to ask, right? And, well, B, most of them will do it for free.
Yeah.
Most of them, if they actually truly believe in your idea, a lot of them will just give it for free.
Yeah.
If they truly, truly believe in your idea, they might say, put me on as an advisor.
Yeah.
And I'll take 1% to 2%.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's like all those people who go to Shark Tank, and they're not asking for 100%. They're asking for like 5%, and it's not because they want how to change the product. That's why. What are some of the hurdles I might get?
Yeah.
And can you answer these 10? Basically, you know, if they're asking for 5%, they're going to get 5 answers of questions. Basically, every percent that they give to the person, they want 5 questions answered. In my head, anyway. But those answers are going to lead you into profit. Because that's that, you know, if someone invested 5%, they're going to expect profit from that.
Profit, yeah.
And the profit is from their advice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a simple like in your head you just go, yeah, okay, they're looking to double their money.
So anyway, I listened to this thing. It was very low level, but anyway, let's have some fun.
Titled "A Message from Your Future You."
Oh, that's right. This
Entitled-
podcast is a message from your future you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
What episode is this of the show?
this is the latest one.
latest one, yeah.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is that when I was like, okay, well, how am I going to solve this problem? I was thinking, what would my future self tell me right now? And to make that happen, I had to go back to things that I've done in the past that I succeeded at. And right now, as a future self to that past self, I'll be like, hey, well done on doing all those things. So I got the advice from my present self to my past self. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to now make sure that I don't let my future self down.
Did you follow any of that?
Oh my god!
Could you please interpret for me, Church?
The way Jesus Christ. I've just been listening. I've been trying to listen to the Dennis Rodman podcast, and that sounded like the Dennis Rodman podcast, right? But that sounded like the idea is your future self already knows the answer. This is like always like that meditation thing where you go, your brain already knows the answer, it just hasn't unlocked it yet. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit, right? So she's going, think about what your future self would do, but base it on...
Congratulate all your successes from your past.
That's right. But base it on the experiences and celebrations from the past to make your future... Now that's your future self will know the answer and get your future self to tell you in the present the answer of the problem.
I was actually going, no. Know what you've done well, repeat that, but also know what you fucked up.
Yeah, fix the errors.
What are the errors? Because that's really what you need to know.
Let's just say you had a staff of people and you knew what worked well.
Yeah.
Your job as the manager is to go, hey, this worked well, keep working on that.
Yeah.
Continue that. Maybe improve it subtly, but keep it on it works, keep it going. And your job, maybe with another person at the high end, is to go, we're going to go, what failed? And we're going to put in a strategy or develop a strategy together, a plan. If this is at 50% and we want to get it to 70 or 80, we're going to put in a plan of how we're going to get to 80. Because everything else is working at 80, this is working at 50. That's where we're failing the most. We're going to get it up to that point. That's your job as a manager. It's not to go...
Well, that's your job as a business owner.
Yeah, exactly.
It's to constantly self-reflect and go, what...
Didn't do that really well. We're going to do it different next time.
Yeah.
Or, this is where we failed in that. We're going to fix it.
Or, shit, we've got a number of venue bookings where we told people actually think that we're organising the catering. Why don't we just solve this problem so we don't have this problem that we're dealing now come into the future?
Hey, we get our catering from this. These are the prices. But because you booked in earlier with us, we're going to comp you some shit. And we'll take it on the chin for a good review in the future.
Yeah.
Which will lead to more business. Very simple. And I was talking to even Jess's dad, who used to run a company, and he was like, I used to do that all the time. We couldn't charge our patrons more because they signed up for, $100 for the day. But if the restaurant goes, now $50 instead of $40, well, I can't charge them more money.
Yeah.
We've got to take it on the chin, but we know we'll get their business next time. And next time it might be 110. They'll go, well, it's okay because we had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anyway,
so
this woman's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. All right, next clip.
As I future self on my 2020 Francesca, am I disappointed? Well, a little bit, because I wanted to do more on social media and I didn't. So,
that's really funny because the way I found out about this podcast and sent it to you is because I'm the We Only Do One Take podcast is part of lots of Facebook groups, and it comes up into just my regular Facebook feed, and she posts like every day, like an old episode, a new episode. She's up to what 57.
This is 59.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
and so she posts like every day, and it's like professionally done photos, all that sort of. It's a proper sort of output.
Yeah,
but fucking hell, it's.
I've got to admit, the photos, the website, everything, I'm like, this looks good. And then I listen to this.
Yeah.
And I just go, well, there's no way
because I think she does presentations like at venues, right?
Yeah.
And her podcast, this episode is probably about half an hour, 20 minutes.
20 minutes. And do you know what? I could forgive the quality of this podcast.
If the content was good.
If the content was great.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think that's a really harsh thing for people to not be able to do. I think there's so many podcasts I listen to that are average in quality, in quality of the sound production. But I listen to stuff basically because it's funny, but you know what? It's funny.
Yeah,
and funny's funny even if it sounds like shit. But if it's sounding like shit and the content's not good, why would people even want to continue to listen? And that's a really hard thing to engage with. we're not the best sounding podcast. We're definitely not the funniest podcast. But we try our best to get both of those things to a high level. We try different things. And I think the most important thing that we do here is that we're not afraid, to try different things. But if we enjoy doing something, we'd rather just enjoy doing what we do. Because I feel like we get a better product out of it.
Yeah.
We're like, if we're having fun,
it's a great product.
it's a great product.
Yeah.
And she's had show, and I know the episode I listened to is like, are you having fun in business?
Yeah.
But I remember the episode about, having fun in business. She's like, oh, we have I have a fun calendar that has like a funny trivia every day, or we play little games in the office. I'm like, fucking hell, if my boss said to me, hey, it's 2:30, it's time to play games in the office, I'm leave me to do my fucking spreadsheets. That's like, I was going to rant about meetings today and how sometimes meetings can just be a fucking email. Because I don't know about you, but if someone goes, hey, this is your task. I've been working on an audit task at work. I was like, we need these reports for this reporting stuff for auditing tasks and cleaning it up. Man, I just want to sit there for 3 days and just do the report. Don't bother me. If you bother me, I lose something.
Yeah.
And this is the same as this podcast. It's just like, you're telling me nothing. You're focusing on nothing. But how is this meant to help me? I don't understand. And you know what? The fun is that I get to the goal and I accomplish the goal. And I don't know if that's a guy mentality or not, or a different mentality just in general.
I don't know.
Because Jess is the same.
Once again,
in her business, Jess is the same. She's Jess has been very unwell because of the gallbladder stuff. And she went working. I go, just take a 5-minute break to reset yourself. The day goes, no, if I finish it, then I don't have to worry. And I'm sure, I don't know if you're the same, but I'm pretty sure you are.
I'm very with the work that I do.
It's just
it's very task oriented.
Exactly. I've got to get it done. Once I get it done, it's all good.
And
I
hate being interrupted. I hate being interrupted while I'm in the middle of something.
Yeah.
And being taken away from it.
Yeah.
I would. It's hilarious because my housemates also sometimes they're like, are you being why aren't you working? And I'm like, I've got a meeting in 45 minutes.
I need to think. I need to prepare.
Well, not even that. I'm just not going to start my next task.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to have to stop it.
Yes.
And I would rather.
Or I
would rather not stop.
I do that sometimes here, and I'll be like, I'll work for 4 hours. I won't leave my desk.
Yeah.
And then I'll leave my desk for half an hour, and I'll have a coffee. I'll talk to Jess, help her with the dog. She goes, aren't you meant to be working? I've got a meeting soon. If I didn't stop, I'd have to stop as soon as the meeting started.
Yeah. And you wouldn't be fresh for the meeting.
And I couldn't think about what I'm going to say at the meeting or what I'm discussing. And it's such a weird mentality. But it's something you really need to... That's that self-introspection.
Yeah.
You got to go, okay, this time in my calendar, I'm doing this. And if you just book that out, your brain, even your colleagues, just go, he's busy. And it's so important. That's better business advice than all of her podcasts.
All right, I got a couple more clips.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
A lot of the things that we're going to do today, they are small and they seem silly and they seem like not as important as answering a question from one of your team, as talking finances, as watching budgets and all the stuff, right? So I was like, I need to do this 3-minute video, but I'm just going to skip it. Instead of saying this 3-minute video, it's going to impact my future self hugely. So I wish someone told me this when I first started a business or when things changed in the business and I started to wear more hats. It's fascinating because as I started to hire people in the business, I was like, oh, finally, I can take this hat off and give it to that person and take this hat off and give it to that person. But you actually don't fully take the hat off. You still have to put it back on to make sure that you supervise and you manage. And
okay, I don't know about you. To get to my boss, there has to be a fucking fire or I have to make an appointment.
Yeah, it completely depends on what the task is. Like if I'm working on a task specifically for them, then yeah, I'll just give them a call. Easy as that. But you're right. Like I don't bother them with minor little bullshit.
I think, I mean, I see the boss in the staff room, in the hallway, and you can have those chats,
Yes.
right? You can have those. So I'm not saying my boss is off limits.
No. Or same thing, like I'm online.
Yeah.
So I just Teams Messenger.
Yeah.
Can I talk to you for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Call you in 10. Perfect. 2-minute chat and it's all good.
But if you're running a business and you've got to do heavy level thinking, you've got to do your marketing plan, or what did you say earlier? Your finances, your accounting.
If you have to think about your finances, that's because the business probably isn't doing too well.
Or it could not be doing too well, but it could be growing. Right?
Either way, yeah.
There's lots of different aspects
But
to that.
But you should have a good finance person to do that. And realistically,
Small businesses don't always have that.
That's true.
Right? But
then you should be the finance person.
But if you've got a team, when you're doing your hard work, if I had to say anyone running a business, if you're doing hard work or hard thinking, you need to set the boundaries of when you're available and not available to your employees.
Yes. Yeah, my boss is like that. It's like, at 10:30 to 11, that's when you guys can call me.
Yeah.
Great. We've got half an hour. Usually longer, just in case it might be up to 11. Just depends on meetings, obviously. But it's like, guaranteed this time is dedicated to you guys.
Yeah.
Perfect. May not be every day, but it might be once a week.
But if you're spending your time on what fun activity we're going to be doing, and that culture, your priorities probably aren't.
If you're taking a day off to focus on social media, that's the type of task you should be handballing off. Not meaningless, but like low brain activity. So you should be focusing again on strategy, on planning, on what the next stage is. But if you're going, I need a post on social media, or I've got to make this video, have someone else write it for you, have someone else film it for you and edit it for you. Or, if your podcast, hey, Francesca, here's one for you. Hire me. I will work weekends, Saturday morning, and I will help you record your podcast. And I'll edit your podcast. You come into my studio here.
She lives in Brisbane.
Does she?
Yeah.
I thought she lived in Melbourne.
I'm pretty sure it's Brisbane.
You know what? You call me, I'll be your we are the podcast consultants. I'll be your personal podcast consultant, and I will make your podcast sound the best it can.
All right, can you do something to this clip?
I'll try my best.
People go into the I should. You don't should anything. You want to. And the moment that you make that decision on wanting, then your future self knows that is what's going to bring you success. So connect, have a relationship with your future self. Your present self now, it is the future self of your past self. So build that relationship first, and then you'll be able to build a relationship with your future self. And it's incredible. It's so beautiful and powerful, because now all the time that nobody's watching, your future self is.
Oh, you've got to slow down. Fucking hell.
I'm a smart person.
Yeah.
I've got a degree.
I agree with that.
I've got a degree that says I'm smart. I have no idea what that was.
It's just
I've just got.
I feel like I've said this even earlier in the show, but I feel like a lot of these business podcasts are like this. So some person lucks into success with whatever they're doing, or they have just enough success where they're happy and comfortable and they're subtly growing, and they think, oh, I'm the expert, Mark. And they say these things, and you really listen to, and you really try to break down. And you're right, the gullible person, or these people that wanting advice or needing advice or looking for a mother, father figure, just going to go amazing. But the average Joe, who like us, who understands a little bit enough about little things here and there, you've got some, with yourself in the entrepreneurial type world, me in the finance world. You look at these things and go, wait, what? Why would anybody listen to that aspect of it? you would go, geez, if you're taking that advice, that's very either average or to bad advice.
I actually, to me, not the best advice, but to me that I think something's really interesting that someone said to me. You want someone who can give you the confidence and the motivation and just go, yes, yes, yes. Like, you can do it. Yes, yes, yes. But you also want the other person who can go, that's a bad idea. That's terrible. That won't work. What are you doing? Do you know what I mean?
But that's the only person I want. Because the person to say
the reason why I say you want the yes, yes, yes. Now, you don't want to use them all the time.
Yeah.
The key to using them is when you're down.
Yeah.
When you're just like, oh my god, I cannot do this. Oh my god, this is.
But if your business, if it's your business, right? Maybe I'm both of this for Jess's business. But if you're running a business, your idea should be, my idea is the best idea because so far everything's worked. You should just have someone that can be both a yes and a no man. It might be one person, might be two, just to go, that won't work because of X, Y, and Z. And that will work because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, it's your business. You should be able to make the decision. Unless it's a completely financial one, you have no experience in that. Unless it's a completely marketing one, you have no experience in that. Unless it's an engineering one where you're like, well, I'm not an engineer.
The other problem the other problem is if you get too much advice, it all cancels to nothing.
Yeah.
Which is the best advice is you doing something and then learning from it. And if you've made the mistake, reflecting, refining, and moving on.
You know what? She said this podcast was 20 minutes long. And all she tried to say was basically what we said in 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another thing I hate about these business podcasts. They've got 14 hours of podcast. And realistically 2 to 3 minutes of advice.
Material, yeah.
And, we sometimes struggle for material here. Within the We Only Do One Take podcast, we go, it's not that funny. We try and make an hour of content, but sometimes we say it's not that good, or sometimes we have a lot.
Yeah,
and at least we're honest about it. We go, one episode a week. If we miss a week, we'll try and come back stronger and harder the next week, and that's about it. And even that episode might only be 55 minutes or 60 minutes, But at least we're not going, we've got 2 minutes of content. Let's run it over again. And
I've never actually thought about the time. Because part of me is also going, it's generally just about 60 minutes. But I'm just like, we're on the internet. It doesn't fucking matter.
It doesn't matter. But you know what? When sometimes we're like, you know what? But
when I just go, we're out of things to say.
If we're out of things to say that we
stop.
brought in, we just stop.
Yeah.
And I think that's something so important for podcasts to do. Like, we're over an hour now. We're an hour and 10. And we've still got more clips. And I've still got news to talk about.
I'm done with the clips now. The clips are done.
Look, Francesca, like I said, if you hire me, I'll work 1 day a week. I will make your podcast sound great. Talk to me. Discuss. I'm going to post this on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get her on. Either that or come on the show and let's discuss business. Skype in.
We've made a lot of friends by criticizing their podcast.
We have made a lot of friends. I've been on obviously Karaoke Big E. The boys down there are fantastic.
Yeah.
We've made lots of friends over there. We've been with Man Brain. We've had Jason come on the show from the Mixed Media Forest. We've had.
We'll have Francesca on.
Yeah, I'll have Francesca on. And like I said, you can hire me if you've got a business and you want a podcast to sound as good as your introduction. We are the podcast consultants.
The podcast. There you go. There's our new podcast. The podcast consultants. All right. What news do you have, Turch?
I've got a lot of news today. I'm going to bring in because I've got a lot to talk about. It's wedding season from Jess and I anyway. A woman demands that her family pay for a second wedding because she didn't like the photos. So apparently, I'll try to keep these nice and simple.
Yeah.
She bought a dress. She bought it a size or so too small. She's like, I'm going to lose the weight this time.
Yeah.
Anyway, she didn't kind of lose the weight. But she fit into the dress and enough. All the photos happened. She looked back at them and goes, I don't like them. Pay for another wedding so I can get the dress the right size with the photos that I like. And she's asking the whole family to do that.
If you made me come to a second wedding,
you'd have a lot of fun.
I'd miss the wedding part, but I'd come to the reception for the second one.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair enough. So, But I can't imagine. Like, my parents have been struggling enough. Like, not struggling, but it's been hard enough to convince them of what I want at the wedding going forward.
I see. I find this just amazing because it's not your wedding. It's your parents' wedding.
You know what? And
Because your parents didn't get their wedding because their parents told them what to do.
this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is how every time I sell something to, I've said this on the podcast before. I've had to, every time I had an idea for the wedding, I've had to. Oh, Jess has an idea, and I'm like, yep, that's what I want to. I have to sell it to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, or the night before, I sold them at the end of the night the venue as a pizza oven, and they're going to make pizzas, and before in the last half hour,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to walk around with trays of pizza.
Oh my god.
So you don't even need to get a kebab after the wedding, after like 50 million gin and tonics.
Oh shit, that's going to be good.
It's good, huh?
That is going to be good.
So instead of getting a bonboniere, a little bottle of alcohol, or a little like flower pot, whatever people
Which is
take,
going to be thrown in
the bin, or
Yeah.
you drink on the
Yeah.
night, you've got an open bar and pizza at the end of the night.
Oh my god. I'm going to have to be rolled out of there.
Good. So that's a pretty good one. Classic bands are accused of crowding out new musicians on streaming services, especially like Spotify and this and that. This is the thing that came out this week. Apparently, a lot of new musicians are really angry because a lot of old, classic bands are finally being moved from not being on, like Prince, for instance. Prince wasn't on Spotify or anything, or the Beatles, and now that they are, people are like, hey, the Beatles there. I'm just going to listen to the Beatles instead of new musicians.
New musics, yeah.
You know, because like, I know the Beatles, all good, you know, whatever. And then what happens is the algorithms in the background for Spotify go, hey, you've been listening to the Beatles, you might like X, Y, and Z, classic rock bands. And these rock bands are getting, you know, hundreds of millions of listens every day. And new musicians aren't getting
Getting the listens, yeah.
visibility. Whereas something like, you know, back in the day, radio used to be like, hey, this is the new track, everyone's listening to the radio. And that's
The problem is there's so much competition now.
well, that's the big thing. It's like, okay, but people have always had to compete against.
They've always had to compete.
You know, this is now people are getting on streaming services. Maybe it's more visible now because you can physically see the numbers.
But I think if they're got the mindset that they're going to make millions, they're in the wrong business.
The music industry hasn't been profitable for years.
Yeah.
Since like the mid 2000s, ever since like the Australian Idol type,
Yeah.
like the Idol type things, the reality television show type things, hasn't been profitable. I don't know why they're doing that sort of stuff, and it's for the love of it. And realistically, the money is not by selling records anymore. It's just the touring and touring merchandise, and that's been like that since the 2000s. You know, there's no money in selling a record. You know,
But people will pay for meet and greets.
well, that's it. You know, it's got to be that interaction with the fans. Like, I've met Dweezil Zappa.
Yeah.
Like, you know, amazing. I've met Nile Rodgers.
Yeah.
Amazing, you know. But Kiss, Jess's parents, you know, love Kiss, big Kiss fans. And they're like, yeah, they've never done a meet and greet because the meet and greet's $2,000 a person.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, but you get to meet Kiss and sit in the front row. It's like, yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people are willing to pay
People, yeah.
$2,000.
Because they love Kiss.
They love Kiss. And you know what? That's how they make the money. Good for them. I'm very happy about that sort of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to do some... I never do this,
Yeah.
because I hate it, and I know it's a myth, but COVID news. So, apparently, 2 masks is the new 1 mask. Did you see this?
Uh-huh.
I'm very excited for when the triple mask comes out across the board. And I just saw a great meme. Have you ever seen The Office, the American version?
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing where what's his name? Pam's husband.
What's his name?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
talking to Dwight, and he's like, "What about 4? Is it possibly? What about 5? What?" And then like that, it's like about the mask. It's like, what about 420? So it's like, but I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine if they said to you, "Hey, you know, condom, like, you know, apparently masks are like 90% effective or whatever it was, or 99% effective, like they had to. But putting 2 masks on is 70% effective now. And I'm like, wait a second, and 90% is 3 masks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a second, what's going on here? Imagine if they did that with condoms.
Mm-hmm.
They just go double bag it 99 plus 99 is 108, 95% effective. Well, I don't want children. Like, you know, I don't get it how they can go, you know, how people think this is real when, like, a year ago they were saying don't have to wear a mask unless you're
Mine's
sick.
just, can we get people to wear masks properly rather than 2 masks?
Yeah. No, I'm over the masks.
Oh,
sort
I
of thing.
fucking hate the masks.
I'm over the masks.
I hate the masks.
And you know what? We're in Australia right now, or at least in Melbourne.
Mm.
The rule is basically just wear it at supermarkets and shopping centres.
Yeah.
Nowhere else.
Yeah.
Don't have to go to a pub and wear one. Don't have to go out and wear one. This and that. Great. That's how it should have been the whole time because there was nothing open anyway.
Mm.
But I didn't understand why I had to take the dog for a walk with a fucking
With a
mask,
mask.
on.
Yeah.
You know, and I see one person.
I know.
But they've done it. They've beaten that. I didn't think they could beat that in the week. Did you see that they've decided that the only way to really test for COVID in Beijing, the Chinese government has recommended Beijing anally swab people. Anally swab people
Yeah.
to test for COVID because COVID lasts longer in the colon or something like that. So technically they capture, like, instead of like a week of the COVID or 2 weeks ago, they capture like 4 weeks of potential having COVID. So in Beijing, they currently tested a 6 or like a 10-year-old or a primary school child for COVID, and they want to continue that going forward. So right now, you have to wear 3 masks and get your ass swabbed for COVID.
This sounds like a bloody South Park
Oh,
episode.
it's almost a joke. Like, you know, it's like even the Pfizer vaccine that's apparently coming. Like, you're apparently going to take it, like 2 doses of it, like back like,
Yeah,
within
2
a month
doses,
or
yeah.
something like that. But like, in what's it called? I can't remember, some Nordic country. They did it for 30,000 elderly people, and 27 of them died.
Oh, look, they could have died for other reasons.
They could have died for other, but very suspicious. And then I'm like, you know what? If your health minister goes, oh, that's a bit weird, but we kind of expected it.
Get another 30,000 elderly and see how many die a couple of days later with no vaccine.
There's no vaccine.
Probably the same amount.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But then the worst part was the people point this out. Go, hey, that's 0.01%.
Yeah.
You know, and then they go, oh yeah, that's nothing to be worried about. This says the government. When the government says that's nothing to be worried about, I'm like, I don't know about you. Now I'm fucking really worried. Now that's a way too big a number for me to even think. I don't know. Maybe it's just one guy's opinion, but that's just the way it is.
Church, we're getting too serious on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd finish it with some really important news. Right? Because too serious. The world's sick of COVID. They don't want to hear about it anymore,
I
Church.
know. I was just talking about people being anally swabbed.
Well, talking about anal. Do men really take longer to poo?
Yes,
There is a common assumption. Men take longer than women to poo.
we do.
People say so on Twitter, in memes, and elsewhere online. But is that right? And what could explain it? As we sift through the evidence, it's important to remember pooing may involve time spent sitting on the toilet and the defecation process itself. Do you want to know the scientific answer?
Of course.
Men do appear to spend more time sitting on the toilet. An online survey by a bathroom retailer suggested men spend up to 14 minutes a day compared with women who spend almost 8 minutes a day.
That's half, basically half.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed at this because it's obviously just a nothing sample size and a nothing study. But this reminds you of those studies. You know, we may spend more time on the toilet.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's
Well, especially as a kid, because as a boy, when you sit on the toilet, then all of a sudden, like, oh my god, I've got a willy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the reason why men spend more time in the toilet because it's the only way we can get away from women.
Uh-huh.
You know, because think about it.
It's a sanctuary.
You know,
It's a kingdom.
Oh look, you know,
It's a throne.
yeah, exactly right, and it's quiet.
It's a sanctuary.
Out of all the places in the world, if you
Doesn't
said
smell while you're taking the shit.
all the places on Earth,
Hmm.
it's realistically the only place that's quiet
Mm-hmm.
because
Can't get yelled at, really.
you can't. Because no woman is going to walk into a man's toilet to take a shit. Even if they're a trans man, they're not going to do that. A trans woman, a man that turned into a woman, is going to go shit all over the fuck out of a woman's bathroom. But a trans man is still going to go to the women's bathroom. It's comfort and confidence. But a man, a regular dude, is going to go to a regular man's bathroom and just be like, it's quiet. You know, men don't talk to each other while they're taking a piss next to each other.
Nope.
You don't talk to the man next to you in the cubicle.
It's very silent.
You don't go to the bathroom with other men. You just go for some piss and quiet. That was funny.
I like that, piss and
was
quiet.
That's not bad, right? Just thought of that as we were... So very... I'm glad that study's happened. But did you see that Joe Biden has put into place that trans men can't be excluded from all women's sports?
No.
In America. So if you're a 16-year-old boy and just like Fallon Fox.
Yeah.
Did you know Fallon Fox had a 1-to-5 win to loss ratio in the UFC as a man before she transitioned over to a woman?
Right.
I didn't know that.
I'm learning that now.
I only found that out recently. And then she transitioned into a woman, right? Which just proved that there's only two genders. I don't know if you, maybe I don't know. Otherwise, you know, these jokes.
I have a dream of us being on like breakfast radio. We would be on for about 2 weeks before we'd get kicked off.
I don't know. I don't
But
know.
right then, I would. You know what I would have done if we were on breakfast radio? We'll be right back after this ad break. Or I go to a song.
Think about it. If you can only really realistically transition from man to female, male to female, or female to male.
Yeah.
There's no other genders.
Well, it's
because no one transitions.
biological sex in a way, and it's very confusing.
don't
It's
know.
very confusing.
I try my best.
Are you
I'm
a nice,
100% told. Just don't make it your identity.
Are you a nice person? Yes.
Yeah.
Do we get along? Maybe, maybe not. If we do, great. If we don't,
I don't know. I try my best. I really do. I don't know what I can do. I was actually watching an episode of I know this is subtly off topic, but I was watching an episode of Law and Order SVU.
Yeah.
And it was an episode where
no semen, no case.
the woman, what's the woman's name? I can't remember now. But the woman, like,
fuck,
she's been there for the whole time, basically,
I don't
right?
watch fucking
And she was
SUV or whatever it is.
Yeah, she was interviewed
Special
by
SVU.
SVU. Yeah, she was interviewed by someone's like, oh, did you know that your colleague shot someone that was scanned someone that was black, but you didn't do it to the white person? And it's just like, oh, I'm not racist. I've got like, iced teas in my team. Like, you know what I mean? Eh? And she's like, oh, I don't, it's like, you don't have to, it's your unconscious biases against black people. Don't give me that cock and bull story that you're with black people all the time, because you've obviously got unconscious biases. So I'm like, you've given this woman no choice. It's either she's, she's got unconscious biases and she's obviously racist, or she's fake not being racist by saying she supports all black people. She's in a completely 100% lose-lose situation, and both are just as bad as each other in this person's eyes. So what do you do?
Well, that's when public relations, knowing how to be a spin doctor, comes in real handy.
You're right. I've been listening to the Dick Show, and this guy's been on there, and he's a gentleman. He's in an electric wheelchair and a cerebral palsy, and he has to currently in his university, has to do like an elective subject. So he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do the women's studies thing. And he's gone into this class and like, oh, tell me why. How have you felt oppressed? And all these women are like, oh, I have to share in an engineering class, I feel oppressed because there's all these men there. And he's just like, I'm oppressed because I have cerebral palsy and I'm in a wheelchair. And it's a hilarious story. but now he's being called up because like he's making the other women in the women in the class feel unsafe.
Oh,
And I'm
bullshit.
just like, and he's just like, never in the history of the world has a man in a wheelchair with cerebral palsy been declared threatening.
Oh no!
It's great, Crippled Jesus. You're one of my.
I want to
favorite
listen to
people.
that.
It's so good. It's so good. How about we wrap it up, buddy? I
Yeah.
think we've had enough for tonight. Thank you very much for listening to all of our shit today. Francesca Moy, the offer still stands. But for all your wanking needs, make sure you follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And we've actually got, after this episode comes out, I know it's going to be a late episode. That's my fault. My apologies, everybody. But we've actually got an episode coming up on the Sunday from this, or Australian Sunday anyway, with the Grand Wazoo. The album's on his album. It was a really cool little interview. But if you'd like to send us some... so follow us on paypig.org as well, which is fantastic. But if you'd like to send us some hate mail, death threat, or rant recorded on your phone, and email us at weonlydoonetechpodcast@gmail.com. Kieran, so good to have you back in the studio, buddy.
Oh, very good. Very good to be here.
And
And we will see you guys next week.
probably next Thursday.